All right, pro wrestling fanatics, back again. Hey, call your friends, call your neighbors, call the community. Let them know where they need to be right here where the HMG meets the two-man power trip on the RBV. Richard Bronson Vickery back again on the other side of the screen there. Mr. John Poz, how you doing, brother?
I am doing good. Great to be back here, and I always love that music. So I'm always gets me pumped when I hear that music.
Absolutely there. As we're kicking off the show here, moving our layout around there. So I forgot I had it shipped a little bit for my Edgewater race report. But pause, we're back at it here. 10 topics, 10 conversations. Last week we had a great go around all things take team wrestling. Some great feedback about that. Hey, but we thought we're going to live in the modern day. We're going to live for today. So we've got some modern headlines that we're going to run down here for you right now. Pause the talk of the town of the wrestling world. And it happened this past Monday morning. Well, Monday for us here on the East Coast in the States. AM Raw, my friends. The wrestling world stood still. It is the obstructed vision. It seems as if Bron Breakker might have went into business for himself. He spears the living hell out of the one, the only, the world heavyweight champion, Seth Rollins. He quickly in turn asked Bronson Reed, hey, are you on page? Are you on board with me? Paul Heyman, what do you say? They all kind of agree here. This is the internet wrestling community buzzing. Pause. What were your initial thoughts when you saw the breakup here, or the seemingly breakup of the vision?
I just thought, like, wow, Rollins must be more hurt than we realized coming off the pay-per-view. I was thinking that he was hurt after basically diving from one end of the ring to the other, doing the old RVD, but obviously doing it a different way. He was going for the old headbutt there, and it looked like he hurt his shoulder, and maybe a little bit worse for wear than we thought initially. Obviously, he wins the match. He finishes the match. But does that mean that he's going to be out for a long extended period of time because Breakker turns on him, and it leads to them being the top heels and Rollins being out for a while? That was my initial reaction, but now I'm here. Maybe he won't be out that long, but now I guess he obviously has got to be a babyface. But just still, it had to be an injury for them to go in this direction. I don't think they would just do it because right, it wasn't ready to go yet. You know what I mean? Maybe 2026 or something for the turn.
Well, and that's the question is we're looking at this from the angle, from the wrestling angle here. Obviously, the crowd eats it up. That Perth crowd, they are excited. They've got a big moment. I'm watching. All right, wow, this is something we haven't seen on WWE television here in a while. A big moment that leave us hanging, to have us talking, wanting more. My next point in my notes was, who do we cheer for? Who is the babyface? Because when I'm looking at these four individuals right here, there is no redeeming qualities about any of them, especially since WrestleMania when we saw this group come together. They have bullied, they have battered, and they have broken about every possible rule that they can. They stole the heavyweight championship. They cheat to retain it. So do we seemingly... Is Bron Breakker in his movement? Is he a babyface just because he attacks Seth Rollins? That dastardly bastard. Are the other two because they align with him, or are we supposed to show some kind of sympathy towards Seth? I mean, he hasn't had any moral dilemma that he's had to overcome.
So there got to definitely be heels. I just feel like Rollins will somehow be a babyface, but how could you want to cheer Rollins, right? You won't want to cheer him, to be honest, unless you just want to sing his theme song. But that's the interesting part. I don't know how he can be a babyface, how he can get sympathy from this, other than being out for a while with an injury. But other than that, I can't see it. Reed obviously has to be a heel. Heyman to heel. Breaker's over like Rover to me, but obviously he's going to have to be a heel, and he's probably going to have to be the lead heel. And I guess if the title is up for grabs, I would have the Vision continue, but obviously you have Heyman be with Breakker and Reed and have Breakker win the title, and then maybe eventually have him and Reed feud or something. But they need heels right now. They need a strong heel. They really need to kind of I don't know, have something. Maybe Breakker win the title is what it needs to be, but somebody to break through as a heel and be the top heel in the company.
Okay, so with the angle here, they pivot. We're going to talk a little bit more about that injury in a moment. Now, would you go full throttle no pun intended here, because that's what people love cheering about Braun Breaker. One, is they're just going as fast as he can and spearing the living the hell out of people. People love that. They're going to want to cheer that. They could position them as a baby. They could position them as that heel. Would you go all in? They have done the pivot. Do we just put the rocket to this dude and just put the belt on him right now? Or are you worried because they have pivoted and they have a recent track record of showing they can't handle that John Cena heel turn? Or do you worry this could actually hurt Breaker in his progression because they've done this so quick?
I feel like just go with it now. You almost have to, like, just strap the rocket. You need a big heel. Just go with it. Give him the title. Give him the push. Give him Heyman, obviously, and just keep pushing him. Have him beat Punk, for the title, since Punk's the number one contender, and have him win it, or maybe even a tournament style and have him win the tournament and be the champion. But you got to strap the rocket to Breaker. Just keep pushing him now. Obviously, he's the future, and the future is now to me. So just strap it and push him.
Ooh, you know what? I like that tournament idea a little bit there. One of my favorite Survivor Series, which is coming up, Deadly Games.
Yes, Deadly Game, with maybe one of the greatest songs, maybe the greatest underrated song maybe of all time, Deadly Game by Jim Johnston.
Very, very nice. Well, maybe we'll have to do one about the music here, episode about the music here. But hey, I guess overall, though, what is important about that is at least there is something of intrigue inside WWE that's going to make us want to tune in and be able to follow this development, where they're going. But on the backside of that, and you've been hitting at it, you've been hitting there why they have moved in this direction, and that is the injury here of one Seth Rollins. I know some people speculation, going back to the last time with the leg, it was a work, and some people trying to play to that. You can pretty much see this thing in the match where where it happens in true wrestling fashion, where the last time where he immediately sold, if you will, and wanted out of that match. In wrestling style, you work through that. And to the credit right here on our platform, HMG, the vet, he called that out. He said, I know this is work because your true worker's going to push through that there. With Seth Rollins, we could say this is an opportunity. Show him in his road to recovery to play up that sympathy, to make him the baby when he comes back here. Long-term, though, Poz, with Seth, being a regular main eventer, put in positions, here to really elevate that world championship. Any growing concern about these regular injuries with him at this point?
Man, he's getting hurt a lot, it seems like. But maybe the karma is coming to collect with faking the injury the last time around, right? I mean, that could possibly be what's going on here with Seth. To me, though, it sucks, like the timing of it, because the vision wasn't really getting over, but maybe they turned the corner then with Reed winning and then him beating Cody, maybe return the corner, so the injury couldn't happen at the worst time. Obviously, we're going to have to find out how bad the shoulder injury is and how long he's out for. I mean, will he be back for Mania is another thing. Like, and he was, maybe Rollins Reigns was where we're going. So now we're going to have to go in a different direction. Rollins Breaker or something, or Reigns Breaker. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go in. But to me, it seems like he might be out for a decent amount of time here with this injury, unless he has some sort of miraculous recovery.
I think, really with it here, repackage him. Let's get some vignettes showing that road to recovery, him turning a page in his career, maybe realizing the way he's been doing things isn't right, that he shouldn't take this for granted, that, the next match could be his last match. That's how you can make Seth the baby into this. On the reverse of that, when we talk about those monster heels, and Poz, you're right, and they need those heels. One thing with Braun Breaker, we need to, pun intended here, break away from it. He is Braun Steiner. Rename the vision and rename the man. And let's move in a different direction with these monster heels. And then even in injury, start building a baby Faith Rollins to tell that full story as it comes around. But again, the intrigue, it is there. Let's see if they can get it right. I guess we'll find out how they do that on the next installment of Unreal, or one of the upcoming installments of Unreal. But Poz, one of the other top dogs in the WWE that we haven't seen in a while. We got a couple topics here to cover on him. Last time he was in the headlines was about his drastic change in appearance that we've seen from the muscle build, just monster that he is, to an average looking dude. The Rock. In this case, we're going to be talking about The Rock says This one popped me here. This was what we were talking about over in the Hameen Media group on Facebook. Go and check us out. But The Rock puts it out there. Says, my daughter never asked for my help. She became the youngest NXT GM by herself. First, Poz, what are your thoughts on this statement? And then the overall credibility anymore of whatever comes out of The Rock's mouth.
I just feel like he's telling the truth here because he probably never really did ask. But here's the caveat here. Here's the curveball with that. It's very much implied. Hey, my daughter's trying out for WWE. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Like, he doesn't need to say anything. You know, it's like an unspoken thing. Like, do you think he needs to tell Triple H or Shawn Michaels, like, hey, my daughter, the guy is on the board of directors. The guy is The Rock. He's technically everybody's boss, technically speaking, financially speaking, whatever. He's on the board. It's like, hey, guys, hey, by the way, my boss. That would be like me. I gave my daughter's school $20 million. I'm like, hey guys, she's going out. She's going to go for the president of the school. Just wink, wink, not just here you go. It's very much implied. So he probably didn't say anything, but they know, like, okay, guys, this is what she wants. So guess what? Rock's not saying anything, guys, but this is what's going to happen. Hello, wink, wink, nod, nod. So I think he probably didn't say anything, but they know what they have to do.
First of all, why even feel the need to say anything about it? In this manner, because immediately everyone's going to be like trying to call, oh, this is BS. Why not approach the matter with, you know what? She does have ties. It's just not me. It's an entire bloodline. It's been in our family, but there's been a lot of other people in those positions that haven't lasted this long in this company, that haven't found any sort of success. It is about, okay, you've had the ball given to you, but you've still got to be able to run with it. Why can't you frame it in that light? Or you go, my initial thought was, okay, you didn't ask anyone to make her the GM. So Ava, on her own, it was her own terrible wrestling ability that they had to say, we got to find something else for her to do. Right. So let's just make her the GM. She's not getting it in the ring. She's not cutting it because it was taking her a while and she wasn't getting any better at that. But hey, again, nothing wrong with being born on second base. You still got to take the ball and carry it yourself. But speaking of Ava, I don't know if you count this, Poz. What was Ricky Saints looking at here?
Yeah, he got caught, huh? Ricky would,
Yeah,
he definitely got caught. I don't know. I don't know if you know this, but she won't have any interest in Ricky Saints for many different reasons. But she won't have any interest in him.
All right.
She has a girlfriend. She has a girlfriend. Just throwing it out there. She has a girlfriend. So she will not have any interest in Ricky Saints. No offense to Ricky, but
Ricky.
But that will not prevent Ricky from looking. You know what I mean? He's still going to look.
Yeah. Ricky, not her type there, not her flavor of the week. Sticking with The Rock, a little bit of bad news here. This highly acclaimed, everybody raving about it. He's supposed to be award-winning, but the Smashing Machine is not doing so well at the box office. The lowest opening for The Rock, and it looks like the pick is going to bleed with a $10 to a $15 million loss. Poz, what is up with this, I don't know, bomb at the box office for The Rock?
I feel like it's much more of like a niche movie, and I feel like he knew going in it wasn't going to be like this big, necessarily big moneymaker. This was much more about him and his acting and him trying to win an Oscar than that, which is funny because people were making the joke of, oh, now that that movie is not very successful, he's going to go back to wrestling. Who's he going to wrestle next, Cody or Roman? And they're pushing it that way. I was kind of thinking maybe the opposite. If he wins the Oscar, he might kind of go away from wrestling and not really do too much wrestling. And I honestly think that with the movie not doing well, that helps him with the critical acclaim, because it feels like whenever there's a movie that does really well and makes a ton of money, the critics don't want to say it's good, or they don't want to give it its props, or they don't want to give it the acting. It's like they are like very go in the opposite direction. So I feel like this movie and it not doing well probably will help the Oscar chance, and then him really kind of transforming himself will help his Oscar chances. So I feel like he knew it wasn't going to make money. He agreed to take a lot less money to do the movie. So obviously he knew kind of going in what he thought of its chance of being like this blockbuster hit. That wasn't the type of movie I think he knew it was going to get. So I think he knew that this was going to happen. And I think he also knew he was going to get Oscar buzz. So look out for an Oscar for The Rock for this one. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see how his chances are.
Interesting takes there, Paz. And obviously, the transformation. So many people speculating afterwards that this was simply a ploy to get that nod for the Oscar itself. You're right, though. It's something that is a critical success for the masses. Maybe gets shunned from the committee and all that. Could that have been because my initial thought is, all right, why did we take this to theaters? Why not release this on streaming where you could get a lot more of that audience, have a lot more eyes on this thing? Maybe they intentionally went there knowing that it would draw lower at the movie theaters, at the box office, so that they could drum up and play that kind of sympathy card.
Man, because obviously he took less money. So, I mean, that tells you one thing, like he really wanted to do this project, and he wanted to do it for a specific reason. I think it's for the Oscar buzz.
We'll see there. We'll see how that works out for The Rock. Well, not less money for a product here, but they cannot be very satisfied. Next time around, they might be offering a lot less money. Plus, I'm talking about the Blue Brand Blues. This is WWE SmackDown ratings at an all-time low, just hovering above that 1 million mark. Paz, is there any concern inside of WWE TKO, or are they making the same old excuses that this isn't how people watch television anymore?
That's basically, I mean, that's what they're going to say because they're still in the top 5, top 10. So it still shows that they're being viewed much more than other programs. So still, if you're doing 1 million, it's much more than a lot of other people are doing. Less than 50% of people have cable. So there is, quote unquote excuses. There is obviously that's the spin on it of what they put out there. Some of that, of course, is true. Some of it's obviously, hey, are they watching college football? Are they watching something else that night? Or, so there's definitely a little bit of both. You can kind of play both sides on that one for sure. To me, the whole thing is this new system that they're using. They're saying, oh, it's better. You get more analysis. You get improved accuracy. If you actually read into it a little bit, you still aren't getting good accuracy because they don't cover all the cable systems. So that's like but they're covering Roku TV. Oh, but they're not covering Verizon. Do more people have Verizon or Roku TV? So there's still a give and take. So that's another thing. You could say that's an excuse, but that's still a reason why it's not as accurate. I guess it's better to take a bigger sample size than a smaller sample size and multiply it, but still, it's still not that accurate. And I still think, I mean, they're okay. When you start seeing the houses and the shows go down and things of that nature, then I would be alarmed. Right now, I'm not alarmed at all for them.
So, I mean, are we looking at it? I mean, they honestly, come on. We cannot sit here. We can look at the business side of this thing, the dollars, the metrics and all that, but they are not creating must-see television. Must-see television still does exist. We do look at ratings like that, and you talk about it, where they ranking at. The NFL, gangbusters. We're about ready to see the NBA. They've been dealing with this, but, sports are drawing and certain things like that. Major college football games are still drawing big-time numbers. The WWE, bottom line is they are just not creating must-see television. They are focusing more on, as long as they're packing that house at that premium ticket. But I think right now where they really need to start looking at is if they're going to start losing on their advertising side.
Right.
Of this thing. That's where they'll start taking that financial hit. Let me ask you this. Could we get to a point where TKO, and we're going to talk about some of their cost-cutting measures coming up here in a moment, they are a bottom dollar. They're looking at that bottom dollar. Bottom line counts the most for them. Yep. Could you see them pause sooner than later, realizing we don't need to be on the road when we're doing rounds in the States every Monday and every Friday at different venues? We can do block recording because we're not creating must-see, and we're focusing. We're getting, it's a magician's trick that we think that people are really absorbing our content through our social media, through our YouTube and things like that. Would it make more sense to go back to a studio style, or the days of the block where we tape 2 or 3 episodes in a night or a weekend?
That's actually a good point. I hope not, but that's That's viable for sure. That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah. So yeah, my mind was you sell when you go to like a metropolis area. Let's say because they just bought the last Cena match, DC. You go to anywhere like that and say, if you want us, you have to buy a 3-day premium live event weekend. We'll give you SmackDown, we'll give you the event and Raw, and you got to pay this top dollar. You sell that internationally when you go to other places. When you're not running those, you could go to Vegas and just do a house, the Vegas show where you just record for a weekend, a month of Raws, and then a month of SmackDowns or something like that. And I'm sure that might be a significant cut in their costs for hitting the road on those weeks.
Never know, but it does seem like when they're actually hitting the road and they're doing these, it seems like they're drawing really, really well despite high ticket prices. So until you start seeing that go down, then obviously they might be in.
I think that's something that maybe they're looking forward to because eventually that bubble's going to burst on those ticket prices.
Yeah, has to.
Well, we were talking about those cost-cutting measures. One of the big stories I know that you really wanted to talk about, Poz, but this past week on Twitter, was it Rich Holland, correct? That put out there that that he has just received word that the WWE will not be renewing his contract. I don't really think that was a major surprise to too many of the individuals out there. But what did jump out at people is that he got word of this while recovering from an injury. And it's something that we haven't seen before in the past, especially when Vince McMahon was there. They would kind of put a freeze on the contract and then bring you back and then let it run out. TKO coming out now and saying, we're still going to get taken care of during the injury, but you will not be renewed at this point now. Poz, your initial thoughts there. I didn't take you by surprise with this, or
to be honest,
a fair move?
To be honest, that did kind of surprise me, not just because I guess TKO is, you could say, heartless and they're all about the profit, all about the money, and they don't necessarily care about the wrestler, but that just kind of threw me for a loop because Vince McMahon, and I've talked to all the wrestlers and say, like, no, we got paid when we were injured. We got fired directly after we got, but he paid me the whole time we were injured. So that kind of struck me because it's like, wait a second, he got hurt in your ring doing extra stuff. So it's not like he was getting paid. He was doing like extra TNA stuff for no additional money. So yeah, you're getting your sea legs back, or you're getting work, and you're getting in the swing of things, working extra, and because there's not many house shows, you're not working as much. So hey, we'll send you the TNA, keep your pay. We're not going to pay you extra, but it'll just keep you making some more rounds, if you will. You're going to be keeping more current. You're going to be wrestling. You're going to be a little bit whatever the case may be of them doing the extra stuff. But if you get injured, oh well, we're going to end up firing you, and then we're not going to pay you. It's like, what the hell? I know they're covering the rehab, but he can't return for 6 months, and he's gone in November. So you figure, like, what about the 6 months that he can't work? That's really, that's crazy. And then Kylie Ray, too. She's pregnant. They fire her while she's pregnant. Obviously, she can't wrestle when she's pregnant. So TKO is pretty heartless to me anyway. It just seems kind of crazy.
Well, this is when you leave a family-owned business and you go into the big boy world. And that's what it is. It is bottom line. And I think it should be a real eye-opener to a lot of these individuals that think they were something special because they had that WWE logo behind them. But guess what? News flash here. You ain't no superstar. You are a cog in the machine, and they have got a warehouse full of parts ready to go behind you. I would suggest one more thing with them. Buyer beware. Make sure you read those contracts, because our next story here, Poz, you want real life unreal. This is a pro wrestling story all over, but read that contract. This has got twists and turns that we're going to break down here. But Andrade missing in action right now. This thing, every time you open up the sheets, there's like a different twist and turn, a swerve coming at you. As the smarts might say, who's booking this, Russo? But Andrade is dismissed, suddenly released from WWE, and kind of under mysterious reasons. We kind of hear it's like some wellness violations, not an attitude or anything like that, but he's gone. Then he all of a sudden shows up on All Elite Wrestling, part of the Don Callis family. Just quick as he arrived, he is gone again. We are learning the termination. He didn't think he had the 90-day, but now TKO might be chasing after a self-imposed termination clause where it could keep a talent inactive, non-compete for up to a year. Pause.
Man, I'll keep it short and sweet because I don't want to go too much over the clock here. But with Andrade, this is my favorite story probably of the last couple of weeks just because he's in WWE. He's got from WWE. It's kind of like crazy circumstances. Did he get himself fired? What happened there? So the 90-day compete, you would think. No, he shows up in AEW. Then all of a sudden, he's literally missing an action. He misses the La Parka match. He's not in AEW. We don't know where he is. Oh, by the way, you have a 90-day compete. Oh, okay. He'll wait out the 90-day, and then we'll see what happens. Oh, but wait a second. You actually might be out a year. Like what? Like what a crazy, crazy story. And it's one of those things where it's like, wow, like where the hell did this come from? Went from 0 to 100 in 3 weeks. Like crazy. My favorite story to kind of keep track of and kind of see where it goes, just because it's so interesting. Is it 90 days? Is it a year? Is he in AEW? Is he in WWE? Did he get him? How did he really get fired? Like there's so much meat to this bone. And we won't have the answer yet, but it's going to be fun seeing it develop.
I would, again, go back and just so these talents that they realize you are in the big boy business world now. And at the top of TKO, you're dealing with some absolute sharks, some of the biggest agents and entertainment in sports in the world. So this ain't the good old boy network where you're handling your contracts yourself or somebody that's been there, done that, trying to give you advice. It's time to agent up in professional wrestling. Just like they are in every other major sport, you're going to need people that have been there, done that, are professionally trained with these eyes to handle these contracts for you. That's where we're at.
Yep.
Also, for Andrade, I will say this. No love lost for me, brother. You should not have broken my sweet Shar's heart. So you're getting all this bad karma back on you, brother. But like you said, Poz, this thing's going to more twist and turns potentially for another year while we figure out what the heck's going on here. Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little All Elite Wrestling, a little beef going on in TK's world over there, but maybe not the in-ring or the beef that maybe people would expect. This one is Mercedes Mone, 10 belts. Mone, a little tip, little back and forth with one Dave Meltzer. Meltzer was asked by some fans about the potentially who will be named the PWI's #1 female wrestler for 2025. And Dave went through a long list of potential candidates there, putting over some talents from WWE. Of course, they're at AEW with Tony Storm, some of the big names, EO from WWE, Tony from AEW, some names in Japan as well. Well, Mercedes Moné took offense to this, and she fires back there on the Twix and says, "You dumb, stupid, salty mark. I am the greatest of all time. 10 belts Moné, the CEO, Ultimo Moné. I had the greatest year of my career. Who is better than me?" Pause. My initial thought here. Damn, she can't even cut a good promo via text. Terrible here. 10 belts. What are your thoughts here on her current standing in the year that Miss Moné has had?
She's clearly working here with Dave, and I don't know if Dave realized that, but she's definitely working here. Not a great promo, just kind of funny. She called him a salty mark, but not a great promo here. She was having a great year, 10 titles, but where do we go from here? What is she going to do? She's going to lose all 10 titles, and then she's just going to become a jobber. I mean, where do we go from here with 10 belts, Moné? It looks good, that she's carrying around all the belts like Ultimate Dragon.
Does it mean anything like that?
No.
Can you name 8 of those 10?
I can name AEW and the CMLL. That's it.
Okay, there's 2, and then the Owen Hart is in there.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
That counts in there, but none of them. Have you ever heard of any of those promotions before they were briefly mentioned that she had won those?
No.
Yeah, to me, her walking around with those, it devalues the CML, if you will, if that had any, didn't to me, but it devalues the TBS championship, and it tarnishes the name of Owen Hart. So it's a bad look. And as you mentioned, at some point, you've got to lose all of these.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of payday is she getting? Good for her on this payday that these mark indie promoters are ponying up these big bucks to bring her in. She's not coming in on the cheap. And I hope that the return on investment is there for her. Because when you're that champ, you're coming back and back and back for multiple shows. I hope it's working out for him. I don't think she's anywhere near the top. And again, a frustrating with her thing with Mercedes Moné. I don't think she gets it. I don't think she gets the character, the in-ring at all. She just tries to do too much there, but she still has tremendous value because people gravitate towards her for some reason. So with the marketability, it is there with her. I just don't think she gets it. But Poz, let's talk about a few ladies that absolutely do get it. It's so great to see them get their flowers. The TNA Hall of Fame recently inducts Mickie James and the beautiful people. Not a you deserve it. You freaking earned it, ladies.
Totally agree. Much deserved. Kind of almost surprised it didn't happen sooner, to be honest. Just to throw that out there for all three of them. Just they're beautiful people. If you remember, they were carrying the ratings for a while there in TNA. They were getting the highest ratings in some of the good periods of TNA. And Mickie, obviously, an all-time great. So much deserved. Congratulations to all three on the TNA Hall of Fame. Maybe long overdue, if I can say that.
You look at when we talk about women's wrestling and WWE pound at their chest and, toot their horn about the evolution, all that. The best women's division, arguably, that's ever existed was this time period where you had the likes of a Mickie James, the beautiful people, Gail Kim, and Awesome Kong, ODB, when they're at the forefront leading the Knockouts division in TNA. They are the game changers. People weren't just like, hey, there was some good women's wrestling. They were carrying the show, carrying the promotion at that time. Yeah. And I know your boy Dutch, was there behind the scenes helping them out there. But it was those ladies out there in the ring, front of the camera, that changed the freaking game. My question now is, I'm screaming to the high heavens, why aren't we seeing more people like Mickie James, like the beautiful people, put in more prominent roles, power roles inside of WWE and All Elite Wrestling? I know there are a few. I know like Molly Holly is an agent, but why aren't we getting more of that? Why aren't we handing creative control of these struggling, especially over in WWE? God, they are brutal, that women's division on both sides of that. Brutal. Why aren't we handing the reins over to the likes of them and letting the ladies that have the true trailblazers that have been there to elevate women's wrestling guide the true future?
I agree. That's a good point. The cultist is over there. Might as well bring in Mickie.
Make it happen. Yeah. Well, don't send her stuff back in a garbage bag this time. Poz, that brings us to the end of the show here. That means it is time for the pop of the week. John Cena is on that retirement tour. And yes, gentlemen, you can get in on the action. And I mean that. You can get in on the action right now because all the ladies are craving right here with the John Cena Championship replica belt. Yes, 40-year-old wrestling fans will be wearing his limited edition John Cena Championship. And cha-ching, scoring, baby. Yeah. Get yours today and get those ladies lined up. All right, it's going to wrap up this episode of the 10 Count. Poz and I will be back here next week with more pro wrestling talk. 10 conversations, 10 topics, 10 conversations. You know the drill. This has been the 10 Count.